In the moment I included for July 30th in my book, Losing the May, a Cancer Caregiving Memoir, my Aunt Lolly is helping my mom use the restroom using a fracture pan, which is a form of a bedpan. And that's necessary because at this point, due to the subdermal hematoma, my mom is still partially paralyzed and she's not able to get out of the bed to go use the restroom in her hospital room. She finishes up, Lolly clears away the fracture pan, and then we all have to kind of help out my mom get into the position necessary for Lolly to clean up her private parts in order to put back on her underwear and pants and then get, resituated in bed. While that's occurring, our nurse, Evelyn, came into the room with a pouch of platelets that she needed to infuse into my mom. And that kind of redirects everyone's attention, except mine, to the nurse instead of my mom, who is still lying flat in bed, all beneath us because we're standing around her. And I see that she's in this very fragile state, having just had to been helped so much to use the restroom, especially in front of her youngest son. And I grab her hand to affirm my support, but also to let her know that I am still paying attention to her, that she still has me in this moment, even though there's a whole other conversation going on. She hasn't been lost. I think this highlights what it sometimes feels like to be a patient in the hospital when you're in a diminutive state and everyone is looming around you due to the way that you're positioned. And that perspective can, at the very least, have a subconscious impact on you. And it can really exacerbate the vulnerability that you might already be feeling. There's an inherent power dynamic that unfolds when you enter into a medical facility. The person who is being seen or being treated, or the patient, is usually the one who is sitting or in a bed and is inherently lower physically than the medical provider. And oftentimes the medical provider will come in and they will sit across from the patient so that they are seeing eye to eye with them and are recognizing that they are equally human. When you're hospitalized, though, you are most often going to be in the hospital bed, which is inherently lower than pretty much any medical provider who can walk in that room. Even if you have your back of the bed completely upright, you are still going to be at most at level with a very short medical provider, but otherwise you will be at a lower position than any medical provider who comes in. And so you are always going to be looked down upon. And to many people, that perspective communicates something. It says, I am the medical provider. I know more than you. I am superior to you. You should listen to me. I think this is a contributing factor as to why some individuals get really combative as patients while being hospitalized, because they are feeling inferior even when a doctor and a nurse couldn't be nicer. They just are in a position where they are being looked down upon at all times. For those who are smaller in stature, I don't think it's probably as unnerving because it matches their reality a little bit more than it does a taller person like myself or my mom, who don't encounter the feeling of people being taller than them as often. For example, I'm 6'4". I rarely encounter people that are taller than me. And when I do, it's a little weird. It's not bad by any means. And I don't feel on guard or defensive, but it just doesn't feel right. It's different. And that differentness can compound what you're feeling as a patient, as you're already displaced from your home and you're probably suffering through some form of treatment. So it is a factor to how your overall feeling is while you're being hospitalized. There's also the all eyes on you phenomenon when you're a patient in the hospital, which is that anytime a medical provider comes into your room, they are scrutinizing you, they're asking you questions, they're touching you, they're studying you, they're asking to look at various parts of your body that might be normally private. And it is just a very vulnerable state that you get put in anytime that you're interacting with them, which is something that we're also not usually used to, at least most people aren't. That feeling is magnified even more so at a research hospital when you have a group of residents trailing the doctor. And so you have 5 or 6 people who are pretty much anonymous because they're usually wearing face masks. So you're just seeing their eyes staring down you, staring down the doctor, watching every move. They're jotting down notes that you have absolutely no idea what they're writing about. You feel like you're a main character in a show and there is just nowhere to hide. Character is the key word there because they're not getting to know you in any way. They are seeing you distant and removed from who you are as a human being. They're not sitting down to get to know you. They are truly seeing you as a patient. They are looking at your prior medical history, your vitals, and they are getting a picture of who you are. And that is all that they have to go off of. And so you are dehumanized in that moment. Even when you form strong relationships with your doctors and nurses and other medical providers when you're hospitalized, just by its nature, it is dehumanizing to be a patient in the hospital. And that's why it's a responsibility of caregivers to provide that humanizing energy during a hospitalization, which means getting to the level of your loved one at times so you can see eye to eye with them. And I know it might sound silly and too metaphorical, but it is a demonstration that you may not understand what exactly they're going through or how they are suffering, but that you see them and that you're there to support them, which can make all the difference. Tomorrow, July 31st, I'll be uploading a video about keeping support systems updated through the course of a medical crisis. So hit subscribe, leave any questions in the comments. The link to the book is in the description, and I will see you all then.